Okay, so we've got our function here. And of course you could use your calculator to plot this. But if you plot it, what you discover is it is a parabola, not that that's a surprise, with the turning point of 1, 7/4. So that tells me with the x that would, so this side of the would contain the x/2. Now they want to know what is the largest domain containing the value x/2 for which the function has an inverse. Okay, so our domain, since they've told us they want the one with x/2, is that x belongs to the reals. X must be bigger than or equal to 1. And we should remember our curly brackets. Then it says, what is the domain of f of x minus 1? Well, don't forget that the domain of the inverse is the range of f of x. So if we look at this, we know that our range, sorry, I should say domain because that's what we're actually being asked for. So the domain is that x belongs to the reals and x is bigger than or equal to 7/4. So again, I think those were two very nice, easy questions. Now, this one for 5 marks is a bit different. Let a be the real number not in the domain found in part 1, so the other side. Find f to the minus 1 of f of a. Okay, so we want x to be less than 1, because that wasn't the domain we found earlier. Now, just as a total aside, since we have room up here, I'm going to do my rearranging. I'm going to start off by saying that 4y equals x take 1 all squared plus 7. 4y take 7 equals x take 1 all squared plus or minus the square root of 4y take 7 equals x take 1. 1 plus or minus the square root of 4y take 7 equals x. Therefore, the inverse function is 1 plus or minus the square root of 4x take 7. So there's our inverse function. We know that one of them is a positive and one of them is a negative. In our case, we will be dealing with the negative now, but earlier on we were dealing with the positive one when they were talking about it. So we have our function f of a, and if I put a into that, I get 1/4 a minus 1 all squared, plus 7. And if I put if I then take that and what I want to do is put that into f of minus 1, because we're dealing with x is less than 1, or in this case now, this our inverse has to be negative. So what I'm actually going to do is take this answer, the 1/4, and put it into here. That's where I'm going to sub it, is into there. Okay, so it's going to get a bit nasty. So we've got 1 take away the square root of 4 times 1/4 a take 1 all squared plus 7. Now this 4 and this 1/4 very nicely deal with each other. So then we've got the square root of a take 1 all squared plus 7. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the fact that... sorry, I forgot over here. We've got 4 lots of x take 7. So there has to be a minus 7 on the end of that. Minus 7. So it leaves us with 1 take away the square root of x take 1 all squared. But the square root of x, a take 1 all squared is just 1 take away a take 1. But don't forget that a is negative, or our value is less than 1. If I've got a number less than 1, so imagine I'm going to do e.g., let's say a equals, let's say 2, negative 2. That's definitely less than 1. If I do the square root of negative 2 take 1 all squared, that's the same as the square root of negative 3 all squared, which is the same as the square root of 9, which is 3. But if I just got negative 2 take 1, that doesn't give me 3. Whereas if I switch it around and I say 1 take a, that would be 1 take away negative 2. So here I'm going to have to switch it around in order to make it correct. And this is what some of them get sneaky about. So it's actually 1 take a. So it's 1 take a, which is just a. And it's not enough. Okay, so that bit there is since a is less than 1. And it's not enough just to say that the inverse of the original will get you back to the function. You have to have shown algebraically that it works. Okay, so we've got f of x is this. F of 2 is 2. F of minus 1 is of minus 4 is 7. Find a and b. So lots of information. So let's start off with finding f of 2. That's taking 2 and putting it into this function, so that would be 2a plus b. Now we're going to take this, and then we're going to find f of 2a plus b. So that would be a upon 2a plus b, which is 2a squared plus ab plus b. And we know that that equals 2, because they told us that up here. Okay, so far so good. Hasn't really given me anything yet, but you know, we're getting somewhere. F to the minus, as the inverse function of minus 4 is 7. So if we know that y equals ax plus b, then y take away b divided by a equals x. So we know that the f of minus 1 of x equals x take b divided by a. So now I can substitute in negative 4 and know that that equals 7. So that's negative 4 take b all over a equals 7. Aha! So now I've got 2 things I don't know. I've got 2 equations. It's good old simultaneous equations. But because there's an a squared, we actually end up with 2 sets of solutions. A is minus 1, gives me b is 3. And a is negative 1.2, gives me that b is 4.4. And there you go.